Hello, my name is Sadie. Welcome back to my channel, Yin Reiki Light. And today I wanted to do the third and final video on karma. And I saved this one for last, Ancestral Karma, which is your family line karma, your DNA, the karma that you kind of carry through your DNA. I saved this one for last because this one can be sometimes the trickiest and most difficult to clear and balance. Why is that? Well, it's two reasons. Number one, energy. Number two, biology. So I'll start with energy first. Everything is energy. Everything has an energetic frequency. Everything has a vibrational signature, let's say. And so two people, when they come together to have a child, there's a certain vibration there that allows for conception to occur. They also are having a soul contract play out where that child decides to incarnate, the soul that decides to incarnate as part of their soul family and chooses different attributes of the parents, both positive attributes, both positive karma, so that they'll come in with certain karmic credits, but they also choose the negative attributes of the karma, the karmic debt of the parent. And so they'll come in and inherit the karmic debts of the parent as well. The reason why this is important is because when the first video I talked about how karma, your karmic credit limit is an accrual of everything that's happened through all of your life, all of the times that you've incarnated in form, embodied, because you're spirit embodied when you incarnate. But it's not just yours. This is the kicker. It's also your entire bloodline. It is the DNA of every person who has ever lived and been part of your DNA line. So all the DNA and bloodline of your mother's line, as well as your father's line. So the karma that you inherit from the family, the generational karma, is not just yours. You contract to kind of come in and clear and balance things that have been imbalanced within your family line. Sometimes it's just the mother's line. Sometimes it's just the father's line. Oftentimes it's within both family lines. And so because everything is energy, it's almost like a double whammy of karmic imprinting, a double whammy of this debt. It's not double debt, but it does feel at times like it's definitely harder to clear. Like one of my family karma issues is abuse. Abuse has been in my mother's line. Abuse was in my father's line. Abuse was in my childhood. And unfortunately, that carried on because I was not awakened at the time. Abuse went to my children. And so a lot of the work that I've been doing on my spiritual path has been to clear these cycles of abuse and clear the negative karmic debt that is within my family line. Okay. Other things that you can see that are kind of negative family patternings that are karmic debts and related to karma debts and within the generations is illness. This is a big one. This is one that plays out for many, many families. I know a guy who, his father died at 45, had a massive heart attack, dropped dead. His uncle died at like 49. had got cancer and just died like very quickly. Other men in the family, and it seems to affect the men more than the women, have had really, really like weird health issues that came up suddenly and then ended up dying before the age of 50. He was a guy who, was aware of that, but kind of just still, partied, drank, didn't watch what he eat, never exercised. But he was a thin guy. He never had any health issues. So he kind of lived this way until he hit 40. And that's when everything's changed. His body, it was like that karmic soul contract light just went off, and he started having severe issues. He was in and out of the hospital. He was getting infections all the time. He was, and one issue created another issue, and then he'd get on a medication for one issue and have to take a medication because that medication that he was on was making him have another issue. And during this time that he was really struggling with his health in his early 40s, his brother hit 40 and started, in the same exact thing happened to his brother. And he recognized, it's my lifestyle, it's the way that I live, I don't want to die at 45. And he totally made this complete change in his life. He went vegan, he stopped drinking, he, started doing like triathlons and really got himself into shape. And then his whole health, everything completely changed. He, had more energy, was just so much, everything in his life improved because he recognized the patterning and made the change. However, his brother, who was younger than him, didn't make the changes. And his brother has still struggled with severe health problems. I think the brother is now 45 and is like, always in and out of the hospital. He had COVID really bad, almost died. Like, he didn't make the changes to balance the karma, and he's really struggling. While the older brother, he's doing great now. He has no health issues, not on any medication anymore. Everything in his life changed because he saw the pattern of behavior and saw where he was headed and decided that wasn't what he wanted his life to be. So with ancestral karma, you can change it. You can change its epigenetics. You can change, positive thinking, changing your mindset, changing how you approach life, changing the things that you do, living a life that promotes more wellness and health will absolutely kind of balance out anything that's been negative for you. But it takes work and it takes dedication. And oftentimes we have the ancestral karma patterns playing out that we're not even aware of. This is often within relationships with especially parents and siblings. That's where a lot of and children as well, but parents and siblings, that's where a lot of the ancestral karma and those kind of contracts and the karmic debt really plays out in regular life. Like, say you've always had a sibling that has always been a piece of shit towards you and they've always been treated you like a rival. Like, that's a form of ancestral karma. And your way of balancing it might just be to cut them off, might just be to like stand up for yourself, set healthy boundaries, and just say, I'm done with you. There's different ways in which you have to balance the karma. Again, it's all about counterbalance. So look at the patterning of behavior in your family line and see how you can counterbalance it. Me, I've always struggled with my relationship with my parents, both of them for different reasons. My mother for one reason, my father for another reason. And so when I started to get older and get on my spiritual path, with my mother, I started to speak up more and just say, no, this is, what I'm going to do. It's funny. She just wants to like have full control. You know, it's like I grew up, but then she still doesn't want to see me as an adult. She's always wanted to treat me as a child. And no, I'm an adult. I pay my bills. I, you know, live my life. So this is what I'm going to do. And so I've had to kind of put my foot down with her. But I've noticed that since I've done that, the relationship, the communication, everything's gotten a lot better with us. With my father, it was the opposite. I had to just kind of like cut ties with him. And I'm at a place where it's what's the best. It's what's the healthiest, because I love and value myself so much. I'm not going to be treated like shit by anyone. I don't give a fuck who you are. I don't care that you're my father. If you can't respect me, I don't need to have you in my life, period. And so, but because I've been that way, which I didn't used to be that way. I just used to be like, I used to just take the like emotional abuse and all that stuff. But now because I'm that way, it's like when he does reach out, you know, we still speak on like holidays and birthdays and stuff like that. But when he does reach out, he doesn't try to pull any of his stuff. He actually shows me more respect because he knows that I'm not going to take it. And so sometimes with your ancestral karma, your generational karma that gets carried through lifetime and generations and all that stuff, it's just for you to kind of not play the same role with the person. If you're, you know, if someone's being a villain towards you, you have to counterbalance that energy. If someone is being disrespectful towards you, you have to counterbalance that energy. Other ways, though, that karma can play out within families and within these patterns are, one of the best examples I can use right now is Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. So if you know anything about the Windsors and Prince Harry's family line, his grandmother, Elizabeth, was never meant to be queen. Her father was never meant to be king. It was the father's brother, Edward VIII, who was actually the crowned king of England. Edward VIII fell in love with an American woman who was divorced named Wallis Simpson. And he went to the royal family and the parliament and the government at that time and said, I love her. I want to marry her. And they said no. They wouldn't allow it because back then, I think this was like 1936, like they weren't going to have a divorced woman, especially like a divorced American woman that was like on the throne with the king. They just were not going to have it at that point. So he abdicated his throne. He basically voluntarily said, I give up my throne. I'm no longer going to be king. My brother can be king now. And so Elizabeth's father became king. And then when her father died in the 50s, she became queen. Why this is important, it's because generations later, and this is one way that you can really see family karma, is that it carries through these generations. Prince Harry meets Meghan Markle. They fall in love. The royal family, being, now that it's in the 2000s, have modernized a little bit and allowed them to get married, even though she was a divorced American woman. However, they still had issues with the family wanting to control everything that they did. And, you know, there's some race issues and some other issues. And they decided for them, what was best for them was to leave their family, leave. And Harry basically just let go of his royal duties. This is a great example of family karma playing out in real time. Sometimes it plays out for 7 generations at a time. So this could be something that plays out with their children or with their children's children. Why I bring this up is because it's important to recognize the patterning of ancestral karma, because when you do, that's when you can make a different choice and change the ancestral karma. But you can't balance it out and make changes unless you see the patterning. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about with ancestral karma. I might do another video on karma, just because I actually really love the topic of karma now that I understand it better. But it's not going to be for a while. So we're going to take a break on karma for now. I hope everyone has a great day. Bye-bye.